You alright there? Hey, too much smoke. It's not smoke, it's steam. I was at a cafe, I was at Bar Italia the other day, and a woman next to me complained about my vape. And she said, I really don't like that secondary smoke. And I went, well, actually it's steam. It's secondary steam. And there's no nicotine in it either. So what you're really complaining about is apricot steam, much like what's being put out by your coffee, which does in fact contain a drug, caffeine. So I'm not happy about your secondary caffeine steam either. Oh, it was nice after that. We sat there and it was like we both dug deep. It was like, no, I'm not going first. I'm not gonna prove that you won. Which meant we both sit there in awkward silence. And we both lost. A Pyrrhic victory, I think they call that. Although secretly I knew I won because I kept blowing it towards her like an arsehole. Anyway, so we've hit, we've hit 4,001 subscribers, which is amazing really, because I started this channel 6 months ago, and that pans out at an average of 666 new subscribers every month. That is the number of the beast, which just goes to prove it is better the devil whose videos you know. Anyway, I thought I'd celebrate such a huge landmark. I mean, I say that jokingly, but shit, I can't believe when I had 200. So, these people, man, where do you come from? The world, the globe, the flat earth. That's where you come from. So anyway, I thought I'd celebrate it with a couple of stories, and they're not really connected. There is a common denominator in as much as they're coming out of my mouth and going into your ears, but that's about all that connects them. But let's transport ourselves back to the medieval period, otherwise known as the 1970s. And I was talking to a mate the other day, and we started talking about this particular subject, and it made me think this is a story that needs telling. I have to be a little bit careful because there's legal ramifications were I to step over the line. So, now and again I might sort of stammer a little bit more than usual when I realise I can't actually say the name. But however, in the this was, how old was I? I was about 10, so this is early 80s. This is about 81. And there was a youth club in Dartford called Bob's. I think the microphone's too loud. There was a youth club in Dartford called Bob's. Now, this is the 70s. Like I say, these are the dark ages. Nowadays, you need regulation, you need to fill in forms, you need to get police criminal record checks, etc., etc. All the standard things that you'd expect to have to stop people from setting up clubs for the sole purpose of touching children's bums. But, I mean, those days, of course, they were free to do that. I mean, it was a different time then. Everyone knew the local paedophiles in those days. You know, we knew the houses that the pedos lived at. And, you know, like clever children, we'd run around there during the summer holidays and annoy them by throwing stones at his window and that. And, it was a more innocent time for paedophilia. But anyway, there was this club called Bob's, and it was a totally unregulated youth club. Essentially, just a man who we could call a paedophile hired out a room, gave out flyers at the local schools, and had his own little youth club. And that was it, and it was called Bob's. Now, the weird thing was, all the kids who went knew. We knew it was part... Now, this is going to sound weird, and I would like you to have the patience and the trust to let the story run forward a bit further before you judge me. We knew that he was a paedophile, but we didn't really know what that meant. We just knew that there was going to be a certain intensity of humour that we rarely saw anywhere else in our lives. So the weird thing was, years later in our teens, because my cousins went to this club as well, we told our parents what sort of things that went off. I told them about when Bob had it off of us, and we told them about what sort of things happened there, and they kind of it was just like, no, come on, no, we're not having that. You know, you're making it up. All three of you and all your friends who went making it up. I don't think it was that they didn't believe us as much as they couldn't believe us. Now, I'm not saying that anything darker didn't happen behind the scenes. In fact, as we approach the end of this ugly little tale, and I've got an ugly little tail around there. It's my coccyx, it's not my penis. Although that's not exactly beautiful. As I approach the end of this ugly little tale, you'll see that there was almost certainly darker stuff going on behind the scenes. But the front end, so to speak, the front end of Bob's was in many ways just humorous. It certainly was to me and to my little group of friends. But you turn up at Bob's, and the joke was among the kids. I don't know if we were called the Bobs. It's not like the Cubs. The joke was how little and unpredictable did you have to be to cause Bob to somehow sexually abuse you. Now, again, I'm laughing, but you'll see what I mean. So, for instance, you'd get in there and you'd all sit in a circle. Now, I only went to Bob's a handful of times. Maybe I was put off by the bum rubbing, I don't know. I mean, it was a dull club apart from this. And everything I say suggests things I don't want it to say, but you'll see where I'm getting. And please don't quit the video now, or I'm not looking good at the moment here. But you'd all be sitting around in a circle, and there'd be that funny thing, and you'd have it at school as well, where you're just looking at all your mates' faces, trying not to crack up, waiting for the imminent crossing of boundaries. And it would always, without doubt, happen. An example, we're all sitting there in a circle and Bob's pretending to run a youth club. What he's actually almost certainly doing was forcing blood into his penis so he could have a no-handed wank among his chosen sexual objects. But we're all ready to just crack up because we know it's going to happen. And lo and behold, Wayne comes in. He's about 2 minutes late. It's a fucking youth club. It's not like Parliament. It's not a board meeting. You're a child. You're 2 minutes late. And he's walked in and everyone's already you're just sort of going, you just know that something's going to happen. And Bob looked around, he went, Wayne, you're late. You're late. This is still too fucking loud. Wayne, you know you're late. You know this club starts on the dot at 12 o'clock. He'd go, come on. And we'd all just be thinking, this is just insane. And they'd sit in the middle of the class and they'd put Wayne over his lap, pull his trousers down and spank his bum. Now, the weird thing was, and there's many weird things here, but the weird thing I'm going to focus on now, I used to have a teacher called Mrs. Goff, and she lived on my street. And, it was a different time. And, she would also spank your bum if you were naughty, but you had to do proper naughty things to get a spanking off a Goffy. Like, I remember once I was I put a paintbrush in some blue paint and I was sticking it in the gerbil cage, and the little gerbil, he was loving something about it, and I was loving something about it, but I was aware of what I was loving, and it was his little face going blue. Goffy didn't appreciate that, and so weirdly again though in front of the whole class, but in this situation I feel it was to teach, to show them there's negative consequences to negative behaviour. But she'd give you a proper slap. She had trousers and pants down though, unnecessary, unless of course she was sexing it up. But she'd fucking slap your ass. You'd be like, fuck. You wouldn't say, fuck, though. Not. This is infant school. I was about 6. I doubt I'd have said, fuck. I might have gone for an flip or something. But either way, she was punishing me. Oh, I can feel it now. Oh, right there. Right in my chest. And then she'd pull you, and that'd be it. And it was kind of frightening. You didn't want to be hit by Mrs. Goff. In my primary school, where we were still getting the cane, a piece of bamboo that they'd whip your ass with. That also fucking hurt. But the headmaster there, Mr. Wallace, he liked the slipper. And they'd have a few of you there. And again, this was a bit random. This was a bit more like Bob's. I mean, you might have just written bum on the chalkboard or something, and it would be, who was it? And someone would go, it was Chris. And I'd go, no, it weren't. It was Darren. And Darren would go, nah, Chris and John made me do it. And so then the teacher would go, all 3 of you to Mr. Wallace. He was the headmaster. He didn't even ask what you'd done. As far as I can work out, he just saw it as an opportunity to hurt, sex up children. And what it made you do, like I say, it didn't say what have you done, or there was no explanation. There was no justice there, and I felt that the story of my school career was an absolute lack of justice, and it really fucked me up, to be honest with you. Not as much as the endless bum touching, perhaps, but that went deep down into my unconscious. Consciously, it was the injustice. But I'd get you there and it'd go, right, it'd go, touch your toes. And he was a big fucking cunt. And like, when you're a little tiny child, I mean, I was about 8 inches tall at that age. He was a monster of a man. And it'd make you touch your toes. And so you'd do that and you'd be terrified. And he'd get this slipper out. Fucking like an old man's leather slipper. Not like these days. Not like one of those little paper ones you get in cheap hotels. This was a weapon of sexual destruction. So he'd go, touch your toes, and no shit, his hand would be like a golf swing right up behind there. And you'd be fucking not looking forward to this. This wasn't Goffy, and this certainly wasn't Bob. It'd come down and it would eat your ass, and you'd fly across the fucking room. Serious, not what but you'd travel because, well, thankfully, because if you stood still, it's probably going to dislocate your pelvis. But it fucking hurt. Crack, it'd go. And in many ways, you wanted to go first because watching your mates do it, and you're at that age where you start crying, not through pain, but through a lack of justice. You know, through fear and probably shame and all sorts of things that a child of that age really shouldn't go through. You'd come down and fuck me, you'd fly across the room. Sometimes you get 2 or 3 of those, again, dependent on nothing. Probably dependent on how many wanks he'd had that week or how many times his missus had punched him in the face over the weekend. So, yeah, so it wasn't like Mrs. Goff and it wasn't like Mr. Wallace. Bob's was like, he'd only come like about a foot away. Let's imagine that my chest... Let's imagine that my chest here is a bum, alright? That's a bum chest. It's not far off, is it? Look, too much fucking milk. It'd come away from you about that far, and trousers and pants down. I'm not going to take my t-shirt off. I've got too many female viewers, and I don't want to take responsibility for breaking up all those marriages and relationships. If you could see my posture now, my knees are literally shaking. I can't hold it up for much longer. Anyway, it'd come about a foot away, and it was like... Look. That ain't a spank. That's a little baby boy bum rub all day long. And the rest of us would just be cracking up, but like holding it back, and that's the entertainment. That's what's funny about school, the fact you're not meant to laugh. I've done a lot of Narcotics Anonymous meetings in my time, thousands. And there can be a similar thing in those. You know, you're not meant to laugh when people are telling hideous stories. And of course, once you start, and once you catch your mate's eye, it's all over. Rehab's much the same. I remember being in a rehab. I think I might have told this in my Sunday prescription. I was in a rehab. I'm going to be easy on the details because this involves real people. But so this girl's husband killed himself on a train track, and it's fucking dark. She'd had a fucking dark and horrific life. But she's getting to the end of her story. And, you know, this is like an hour long. In rehab, when you write your life story, they say a page for every year. And she was about 36. That's 36 pages of handwritten writing. And you know, you tend to be detoxing in a detox centre in a rehab. So you're fucking vulnerable, emotions all over the shop. And, you know, I'm talking hideous stories. People who were sent out whoring by their parents when they were like 12 years old. Murders, you know, suicides, sexual abuse. You know, the usual stuff that's part and parcel of addiction, of what it becomes an addiction in the future. And so she's told, and it was awful what had happened to her, you know, like, the boyfriend used to inject her with Nubane, which is some really obscure opiate, while she was asleep. And that would allow him and his friends to rape her without much resistance on her part. You know, fucking dark stuff. I think she got sectioned in the end. Anyway, this has gone really dark, hasn't it? What a surprise for one of my stories. She said that the manner in which he killed himself, and I want to be a bit vague about this, but they had to bury all they had left was his head and his feet. And when she said that, I can't handle it. It's too much. I remember I'd always get done for laughing in rehab, and one of the staff said to me once, she went, "You know you only laugh because you're nervous." And I went, "Right, so you having a go at me for being nervous?" Patient 1, staff 0. And when she said that we buried just his head and feet, the bloke next to me has just gone, he's just gone like this, and he said to me, he went, "Can you imagine the size of the coffin?" And as soon as he said that, he's given me an out. It's only a release valve. Yeah, damn right I was laughing because I was nervous. I was laughing because I am emotionally immature. I mean, I certainly was then. This was the first rehab I'd stayed at for more than like an hour. And it's just a lot to take in. And as soon as he said, "Can you imagine the size of the coffin?" I just started... And you don't want to be laughing when someone's telling you that story about their real actual life that's led them to a horrific series of events and addiction and rape. But, you know, I'm fucking human, and it's not just me. You know, and again, you're trying not to get eye contact with all the usual suspects who are all also struggling to deal with this stuff. And then next time I've looked round at my mate, no shit, he's gone like this. He went, as if that's the feet. Anyway, I had to leave. I had to walk out, and it's all right as long as you deal with it like an adult. By which I mean make excuses for yourself before they get a chance to tell you off. And I just said it. I just basically told them what I just told you. So yeah, same with at Bob's. You can't just start cracking up because Wayne's getting his bum belly rubbed. You have to sort of. But it's just too funny. And then, like, right, we're going to give everyone a bit of paper. What I want you to do, I want you to do a drawing of what would your ideal fantasy be? In retrospect, no one wants to talk about fantasy in what is an obvious, overt paedophile situation. But, he wanted us to draw, like, our ideal something or other. And, of course, we know already someone's going to get it wrong. How do you get a fantasy wrong? It's not going to be artistic integrity or inability. Oh, that's poor draftsmanship. But it would be something weird like that. Taking too long, finishing too soon. Anything. Because the whole reason for Bob's was for him to give you a bum slap. And it had happened. And everyone's just sitting there thinking, please not let it be me. And you're doing your best just not to get your bum rubbed. and we didn't know the implications of that. We didn't understand how serious it was. And like I say, by the time I get to the end, you'll see that there is some real darkness. So to us, it was just funny because some weird, old, unattractive and unpleasant, smelly git who'd set up his own little touching club was going to might rub your bum in a minute. And of course, I can't remember what it was, but it'd be something ridiculous like, now, there's 2 sons in this picture. What's that? That's a picture of a house. There's your dog. There's your family. I get that. But there's 2 sons. Now, we all know there's only one son on Earth. Now, regardless of the fact that it was fantasy. Trousers down. Now, weird thing about that. He had a boy. He had a son. And he was at my school, and he was a weird cookie. He looked sick. He looked like malnourished but fat. Do you know what I mean? He lived on biscuits and cakes and probably penis. And a very strange bloke, very isolated. And I found out, I don't know, this is probably going back about 15 years. Oh yeah, he got locked up for being part of that global pedo ring called the Wonderland Club or something, where the criteria for joining was you had to have something like 10,000 pictures, indecent child pornography. I don't know what decent child pornography would be, but yeah, that's what you need to get in, and he was part of that, and he got locked up, and they found something like 100,000 images on his computer of kids being abused. And I used to talk about this in one of my stand-up sets, and they said that these 100,000 pictures were almost certainly from the area, the local area, like South East England. And I used to say in my set that as horrific as that is, if you had kids and they didn't make it onto that list, you'd be a little bit upset. They didn't quite make the grade. Apologies. In context, that's a very, 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 very funny joke. So yeah, so the son got locked up, and almost certainly that came down through the family. I mean, yeah. Really, really not surprising. From Bob's to banged up in Belmarsh for a bum banging bonanza. So that was Bob's. Something else about the 70s, and we're now moving on to the second story. I went to a school and it was called York Road Primary School. Lovely little school. It's still there, and I walked past it, and one of those old Victorian schools with a lightning conductor and these lovely brick buildings with like red corner pieces and parquet flooring for the whole of the assembly hall. Lovely, those beautiful big lumps of polished wood. And this floor had been polished for like over 100 years, and it had built up that beautiful combination of wear and sheen. There was like little dents and that, and then little bits that had like taken knocks from dropping chairs or whatever, but then slowly over the years that had been polished, and it looked like polished stone in places. Gorgeous. I mean, you can't imagine schools having, I don't know, man, like 30 metres by 15 metres huge assembly hall with full parquet flooring, and those absolutely beautiful little square radiators. Do you know the ones like they're the big chunks of metal, like all in little sections, which now you see in very expensive designer houses. That would go all along one wall, and again they'd been painted and painted and painted and over again. And slowly the original metalwork had lost its definition, so it was all really smooth and the sort of thing that only time can make. It bore the marks of history. One of my Chinese friends, she told me in China, they never clean. Well, not all. I actually said it without the hashtag. Not all Chinese and not all teapots, but there's a thing, a tradition where you don't clean your teapot, and they have we have very strange tea rituals, but they haven't got a history of exoticism and Orientalism. Two things that I'm hearing lately are terrible things. Oh yeah, that's not nice to discover new things and find them slightly unfamiliar. Oh no, what a disaster! The world's in bits. But yeah, so some of these teapots haven't been cleaned for hundreds of years, and they say adds to the flavour. It certainly adds to the experience, because you're like with the radiators and the parquet flooring, you're indulging in a history, in a time. You cannot fake this stuff. You're buying time, much like with art and masterpieces, etc., etc. And so yeah, it was you've got all this going on, but. So I don't know how I got from parquet flooring to teapots and radiators, but I think that's maybe what I drew at Bob's. I'd like a parquet flooring, a 200-year-old Chinese teapot, and a radiator that's like lovely and gorgeous, but not two sons. Oh no. So anyway, at that school there was a bit stuck on it, and it was called the York Road Primary School Special Language Unit. And it was your retard section, basically. What other great phrase did they use? Slow learners. They were basically mental kids. They were the mental kids. They had problems. They had learning difficulties. Some of them appeared a bit downsy. It's strange with people that have got those mental problems, because it's kind of reflected in their appearance. They've got something going on, a little bit of palsy or something. But that's all very well, and how nice in the late 70s that there was this a special unit where these children could get help they needed, which they couldn't get in a standard class, and almost certainly it would have been the same vice versa. Now the strange thing was, and the essential moment of this story, their playground was separated from the main playground by a huge fence. Yeah, like a wire fence. You could see through it. Well, obviously, because it was more space. It was more negative than positive. There was less wire. You know what I'm saying? And it was about 30 foot tall, as if one day there was going to be like a special language unit apocalypse, and they were all going to climb over and come in and. But you know, what was mad, ironically, about the York Road Primary School Special Language Unit is that's a long phrase, and I've been deliberately saying it every time to let you feel that the York Road the York Road Primary School Special Language Unit. It's too much, so it was shortened to the units, plural, not the unit. It wasn't referred to, the space, the area wasn't referred to as the unit. The kids were referred to as units by the other kids and staff. And this is what distinguishes the 70s perhaps from now. Like, I'm sure now kids at that age will take the piss out of anyone who offers anything different to the world or somehow stands out. But would the staff refer to them as units? Like, we'd have assemblies all on the lovely radiators with the parquet flooring, and the staff would be saying to us, they'd be going, right, we've noticed that at break time a lot of you are going around and tormenting the units. The fucking units. Now, we didn't laugh. This wasn't like the laughter that we had at Bob's. We weren't sitting there going, no way, the teacher referred to them as units. That's what they were called, the units. Fucking absurd. And obviously not nice for the kids. I wonder if they referred to them as that. I wonder if they'd have classroom and going, no, you're not allowed into the main playground because you're units. The units. And like sometimes you'd see some of them around Dartford Town Centre, like at the weekend, and you'll be with your mate, you go, no way, look, they let the units out. The fucking units. Now there was one of them called Jamie. And he was proper gone. You know, seemed like a nice enough kid, although I didn't really get a chance to make friends with him because he was behind a fucking fence. But occasionally they'd escape. The units would get out, all the alarms would go off. Whoop, whoop, whoop. They wouldn't, there was no unit alarm. But I remember we were in this classroom once. Oh, we get back to Hamsters here too. We're all in the class and the door's just opened, and things are very regulated in schools. You know, you tend to know if someone's coming in, and if you didn't, there'd be a knock at the door, but oh no, it's just swung open and there's Jamie. And he kind of had like he wasn't a highbrow kind of guy, but he had a highbrow. And like, yeah, hey. And he's just come in and hello. And you could tell the teacher, Miss Lawler her name was, she's got on a panic because she knows now that if this gets handled wrongly, I mean, this is before political correctness, but she knows that if this goes bad, she's going to be in trouble for killing a spastic. So she's gone, Jamie, are you meant to be in here? And he just looks at the hamster cage. Now, bearing in mind he's a unit, he lives in a cage. He's certainly educated in a cage. I hope he didn't live in a cage, but he's in the unit. And he was looking at the hamster and he went, what's it like? What's it like living in a cage? And it was kind of sad. We were all cracking up. Same as Rehab. Nerves. Unaware of how to deal with the obvious emotion and social contradiction. I don't know. That certainly wasn't happening to me consciously. But that's why all the kids were laughing. Because we knew he lived in a cage. And he was just at it going, would you like to live in a cage? And he started trying to undo it, but he didn't have the wherewithal, and he was just trying to, this poor hamster or gerbil was just, get him out of the cage, please get him out of the cage. And we're all cracking up, but inside, essentially, we were all suffering a traumatic experience, something that would chase us around for the rest of our lives. And of course, in the end, she left us in there with him. Luckily, there was no sharp objects, and he didn't paint the gerbil blue, which in many ways I am the bigger unit for getting pleasure from painting a gerbil blue. All he wanted to do was free the beast. He just wanted to let the little baby unit out. Maybe he thought it was going to grow into him. But I based a lot of my early social skills on Jamie. You know, I'm not even joking. You know, you can ask friends of mine, because, yeah, that's going to happen. Yeah, I'm sure you're going to add me on Facebook and go, right, Chris Dangerfield said. But when I remember being at art college and we'd play games where you had to make each other laugh and all that, and I would occasionally just go, What's it like? And that just, hello. And there's this church people. But yeah, fucking units. It's still there, like I say, but I doubt they are still referred to as units. I doubt they are separated from the main body of the student populace with a cage. And if they are, just stagger the times. Don't do that to children. It's fucking obscene. Didn't say that about Bob though, did I? Or Goffy or Wallace. Well, yeah, that's because that's fucking obvious. Don't touch kids' bums and don't segregate them because some of them are like that. Okay. Third story, and unconnected again, and this is just another horse story, but I done a video about horse stories and I forgot to get this one in there, so it's actually worth a listen. I'm gonna have to have a hit of my vape. I'm getting all emotional. Not about the previous ones, but about oh yeah, what's coming. Oh yeah. Now this is just fun. Sexy whore fun. Probably not for her. Certainly not for me. Let's hope you enjoy it. Got a squonker. And that was a little vape break. So, going back a few years, I'm thinking, right, I'm going to go and see a Chinese prosport. I'm going to go and get a prosport. What's that? A prosport, if you don't know, it's a woman who sells sex that you need to get through national borders. I thought I'll go and see a prostitute. I'll go and see a Chinese. I'll go and get a Chinese wanker chank, if you like. And again, I've told you before, in most of them, and it's certainly if you don't know the brothel, you don't get to choose. You go in, you pay your money, you get sent to a room, and they come in, and you're like, you know. And anyway, so I'm in there, and she comes in, and I have a little glance, and not great. I mean, she must have been, I don't know, anything between 35 and 200. In the low lighting situation, hard to tell. But she's got like this big sort of auntie's jumper on with a big roll neck that's a bit loose, you know, the sort of roll neck that hangs. Auntie wear, it's auntie wear. And it's kind of grey, and, you know, I like tight pink whore clothes. I don't like a big fluffy auntie's jumper, but, you know, such is the risk you take. And her haircut, it's weird. It's sort of like she's got spiky hair, but there's not enough of it. It's too thin to be spiky. So, and it's only about like 1.5 inches, but spiky all round. There's no shaved bits. She doesn't look like porn star Skin Diamond who went for the spiky look. Nothing like that. It's an auntie's haircut. It's the sort of person that turns up to collect their kids from school. And do you know what I mean about spiky all round? Like, you know, like when you wear a crash helmet, it gives you a continuity of depth over your whole head. Well, she had a continuity of length over her whole head, and it was just almost as if you'd gone to see a prostitute and someone said, what's the least sexy haircut you'd want? It would be this one. I mean, even a purple mullet has got something mentally ill about it, which, like I said in a previous video, you can style anything. But this story should be called Struggling to Style, because the jumper and the fucking haircut, I was struggling to work out how I was going to get anything sexual out of this. The face, nondescript, just, you know, she was happy enough. She wasn't all grumps or anything. She was like, hello. I was like, hello, and oh, God. And so I'm thinking, fuck, oh, she also had a pair of, like, Primark slacks on. Do people still say slacks? It just a pair of trousers that will desexualise anything. Even the aforementioned Skin Diamond could not pull those off. Well, she could pull them off, but I mean, you know what I mean. So when I'm laying on my front, a very good massage, and you can usually tell the quality of the massage will always be inversely related to the quality of the sex, because the massage women that are going to give you the best sex you ever had, they don't need to even learn how to do a massage. They're just going to tap you on the shoulder and go, come on, turn over, let's get on with it. But this was thorough, and I was thinking, fucking hell, that's wicked. And, you know, you don't know how much stress you're carrying until it starts to be removed. And I was like, oh, fucking hell, oh, mate, this is good. And it was very good. And then she's gone turn over, and, you know, you'd only turn over in a brothel if for sexual services, and I'd already thought I ain't having any. I am not here to put the effort in today. I don't want to fantasise. I don't want 2 sons in the brothel. I want certainly not her children. I want to be present, and the problem with that was she was present too. So, but weirdly, and here we go, oh, you can style anything, because just out of the blue, when I turned over, because I was sure I did not want a sexual service, and because of the auntie's jumper, because of the horrible haircut, because of the slacks, because of the undeniable, unsexual, I'll go as far as to say anti-sexual nature of the appearance, I got an erection. It was almost like my body wanted to challenge me. No, my body wanted to challenge her. No, my penis wanted to challenge reality. It wanted to challenge sexual assumptions I'd made. And I can't argue with that. The situation can't. I can't turn over with a boner and go, nah, I don't want any sexual services. Obviously I do. The body is speaking. And so she hasn't even asked. She's just not great. Most of those Chinese women, most of the chanks, I've said it before, they've got magic hands. They do things you don't. It's not one off the wrist. This is like it's handiwork I'd never heard of before. She's not doing that. This is one off the wrist. It's the jumper, it's the hair, it's the trousers. She's got a pair of fucking slippers on. Oh, I get Mr. Wallace, bang. I mean, if she took her slipper off, alright, Laurie, if she took her slipper off, maybe, but I'm thinking, I know what's going to happen. It's going to go. The erection's going to go, and that's going to be awkward because I'm going to have to pay then because she still wanked me, and then I'm just going to have to go, yeah, sorry about that, or worse. Yeah, that's happened. And out of the blue, she was wanking and she went, cunt. Which could be, did you hear me octave then? Could be her being nasty. She could have just been calling me that. And as I was right to assume, as you'll see, she was talking dirty. Now, English not being her first language, and a little bit of back and forth we had when I first got in there, she wasn't the greatest English speaker, but she just went, cunt. And it was so disgusting, because anyone can talk dirty, but to get it wrong, it makes it more dirty. It's more obscene. It's properly perverted for her just to, out of the blue, go, cunt. And again, the body responded. My penis, a little bit of extra blood filled the spongiform part. And my sort of hips bucked a bit. And I was meant to respond vocally as if to feign sort of, well, not even feign, to let her know I was surprised that my hips and my pelvis and penis had responded as such. But I sort of went, oh. And so she, in her head, she's gone cunt, and I've gone oh. So she started saying it again. So she's wanking me, and I'm almost I'm trying not to laugh. We're back to Bob's, we're back to Rehab, we're back to school. I'm trying not to laugh while this woman's giving me a right rubbish one off the wrist, and she's going cunt, and I'm going and I'm thinking this is absurd. This is absurd. Who wants absurd sex? You've all seen porn on the internet. You've all seen the categories, haven't you? BBW, anal, big boobs, blonde, fetish. No one's seen absurd. It's not there. Surreal is not there. Largely unwanted and surprising. It's not a category that's available because no one wants it. And so she's misinterpreted my reaction, or has she? Am I being honest? Am I being unconsciously and accidentally honest, which is often the case with sexuality? And so then she's added to it. And she added to it with bum. So now she's going from one to the other. So she's doing it, and she's looking right at me as well. And I'm a, eye contact's a weird thing anyway. How much isn't it one of the most awkward things in life when you're with even a good friend, but certainly with a stranger, and you start talking about how awkward eye contact is, and how much, how long you should maintain it before you do that sort of random look around at nothing and then back. And once you have that conversation, then you're both hyper aware of how much eye contact you're keeping. Well, in this situation, it's the same. I'm just sort of looking at her, and I am a fiend for a pretty face. I like to stare like a maniac at the mantelpiece while I'm stoking the fire. I really do. I'm a sucker for a pretty face, and it's not what she did not have. And so and she's going, cunt, bum. And now, of course, she's getting out of breath. So that wasn't me then being tired. She was going, cunt, bum. And of course, because of her hands now, she wants the fucking job done. She wants some money. So she, cunt, bum. And I'm sort of thinking, this is filthy. I got someone's auntie just saying cunt and bum at me. And I'm sort of thinking, I'm a bit like her now. I want to get it over with. I'm going to enjoy coming, because coming's all right, obviously. But usually I want to string that out. I want to get my money's worth. But I'm also thinking, actually, this is at the time, cunt, bum. And of course, she keeps adding to it. She keeps dropping in these really weird, like, after a few minutes, she's literally wanking me off, going, cunt, bum, pussy, penis, bum, cunt, bum, pussy. I'm just looking at her, and at this point now, I'm just thinking, this is absurd. What the fuck has happened to my life? And I'm paying for it, which always adds, this a lot of this, about 60% of this was a choice. And I had the option to speak to her. I could have said, whoa. No need for the cunt bum. No need for the cunt bum, penis, all that. I could have said that, but I didn't. And I don't know why. I just went with it. And it was weird. And I remember spunking. And it wasn't my greatest spunk. Far from it. But I'm sperming. Why did I change from spunk to sperm then? I'm coming. And she's leant right forward, and her spiky hair and her jumper's all on my chest. And she's chuffing me. And I can feel my now throbbing and sore exposed glands. It's now on a at least semi-synthetic jumper. And she goes, cunt bum, penis, fanny bum, cunt, boob bum. And then I spuff. I've gone from spunk to sperm to cum to spuff. Must be a reason for that. Stick it in the comments if you know. And then I've just jizzed. There you go. Another one. Amazing. I've just jizzed. I'm sticking with jizz on her jumper, which isn't usual in those places. Usually they'll put their other hand over the top and just cup the sperm, or they'll stand well out of the splash zone, or you'd have negotiated a price and it's all over their boat race. But no, this is just polyester kind of Brillo pad finishing, and all I can hear in the periphery, which is the centre of others, all I can hear in my periphery is this sort of cunt bum. Yeah, unpleasant times, but weird. I mean, I did jizz. I achieved my goal, as did she. And the strange thing was, we had a very nice chat afterwards. I started talking to her about where she was from. She was from Fujian, which is an area, not a province, but an area in China. It's a huge place, China. You didn't need me to tell you that. And we were talking to her about her and when she got there and her story, how she got there. And she was just sitting there washing her hands and scraping it off of her jumper. And she was all right. Nice lady. And weirdly, I'm still laying down, because what they will do frequently, all the time in Thailand and occasionally with the Chinese ones in London, they'll massage your thighs after you've come, because you will tend to tense them up to come, and they know that, and they'll soften them up a bit, and then sometimes they'll put a pillow under your head and give you a head massage and a face massage, which is nice, because while she's doing it, you're thinking about how much jism of 100 men's penises she's had on her hands that morning alone. Thanks. Oh, hang on. No, no. Oh. But before, as I went to... so I'm laying there and I'm just sort of thinking, I wonder if I'm going to get... it's not something I wanted to ask. I didn't want to demand more than what was on offer. And then I thought, okay, so the thigh and head massage isn't working. So I got up as if to put my trousers on, and she said, do you want another one? She said, free of charge. Literally never been offered that in a Chinese massage shop. I've had it in Thailand because they're playing the long game in Thailand. They want you to take them on the girlfriend experience. They want you to hire them for a week. And... but not round here. And do you want another one free of charge? And I didn't have the art to tell her that in truth the first one was quite a struggle. And at my advanced years, I don't know if I can quite manage a second one at the moment. Auntie Spunk. There you go, 3 stories. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Thanks for your support. We're getting there. Oh, it's growing. Oh, it's amazing. Why don't you all tell one person? If you don't want to, just don't. Don't moan about it in the comments. I hate it when people ask me to, when video content makers ask me to do shit. Just ignore it. But if you all ask one person to subscribe, they might even enjoy the videos. And in many ways, you'll have given to them, you'll have given to me, and you'll have had the gift of giving.